Hello everyone, this is Lori from Grammy's Keepsakes, and we're back to do part 2 of our little journal album folder. And I've done some prep work. I've cut several of the mats, but I've just paper clipped them on, so we'll go through them one at a time. And I have everything inked so that you didn't have to watch me do that. So we're covering this little part first, and I put this magnet on here, and I just measured my paper 1/8 inch narrower. So mine measures 5 1/8, so I cut it at 5. And my height was 9, so I cut it at 8 7/8. And then I just traced that little corner. I have a piece down here somewhere that we can go here on this one, so I can show you how I did that. So this one I've got it all ready to go, except I don't have this corner done. And so let me show you what I did. I line it up on that edge and the top edge and hold it, bring it over. Here, I'll use my paper clip to help me hold it. Grab a pencil, making sure that I'm lined up again, and then just trace it. And then when you take this off, you have that line, and we can go ahead and cut that off. And I cut to the inside of my pencil line. And then do a dry fit. And it fits. And then when we ink it up, that'll hide all the white core. So that's what I did here for this. So now let's go ahead and remove the backing of our score tape. And I'm using the Fabri-Tac, so I've got that room for movement. And I've already inked it. So I'm just applying glue around the border. Not too close because it's going to seep. And then just put a little bit on the inside. And then I want to put glue around my magnet. And centering it. So I've got my 1/16 of an inch all the way around, and press it down. And if you remember, here is our big pocket, right in here. I'm holding the magnet so that I don't accidentally put my bone folder over the top of it and maybe rip my paper. It is a cardstock, but still, I don't want it ripped because we're trying to get this done with 6 pages. And I'd have to use a different one if I ripped it. So now we can go ahead, and for this one, I did the exact same thing with I moved it up to that corner, and I traced for this edge, and then for this one, I moved it to this edge, and I traced it so that when it came back, I had that 1/8 or the 1/16 inch border around it, so it's matted. So let's go ahead and glue that. And if you don't want to cover this file tab, that's okay too. You don't have to. It can just be the color of the file folder, because we're going to put a little title on it anyway, or leave it. And then centering to get our mat all the way around the best we can. Not perfect, but that's okay. It's handmade. And it covers up the edges of our washi tape. I always put my hand over it to make sure I don't have any glue anywhere. So there's our inside covers. So now we can move down to our little flips. And I've got this one ready. And again, what I did was I measured the little spot. You know, I'm going to put this back on for a second and back up a little bit. Okay, with this here, let me find a different sheet of paper so that you can see. Here's one. These, see, one 12 by 12 fits it. So I chose one 12 by 12 sheet to work for both of these sides. And the scraps of it will be tags and such. Okay, let's move that up so you can see. And then I've got my flips. And see here, I have another piece of 12 by 12 paper that fits these. And there will be scraps. So that's how I came up with that. And then this is a scrap from my borders. And when I bring these up, here's another one of the 12 by 12 pages for these. And there will be scraps left over. So on this one, it has the flip out. And these were the scraps from the borders here. Maybe it's easier to see that way. And then I got hooked. And then these. So that used this sheet. And all of these came out of another sheet. So that's how we were able to do this with 6 pieces of paper. And even with that one miscut that I'd done, we still have these left for tags and such. And I've got all these offcut scraps left. And that. And this is from our back. This is from my front. And this is what I had for my inside. So we used up a good portion of the page, but we didn't completely use it, so we still have more. So let's go ahead and glue some of these on. And I've already inked them. And I just measured minus 1/8 inch. And then I did my round corner rounding. So I have a border of a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. That's what I prefer. If you wanted a bigger border, you would just cut your designer paper smaller. And here we always want to remove the paper backing of the score tape. Oh, put some glue around that magnet. So when I was doing these sides, what I would do is I would measure one of the sides and just cut one strip of paper, and then I would just start on the bottom and cut for that one, and then I would do the next, and then I would do the next so that they line up as far as the pattern goes. I want to thank everybody for watching. I know this is a little bit different, but sometimes different is good. And I'm gluing all these down before we make the little journal insert so that they're not going to be in the way. Okay. Making sure I have it lined up again the way I had originally intended, because I know I've been playing around with it a little bit. And some of that marking is going to show, but that's okay. It can show. And you can use digital papers to do this. You don't have to use cardstock. You can use any kind of scrapbook paper, any kind of digital, printing, coffee dyed paper, anything. Okay, and here's my little pocket. Okay, so this is going to flip up and flip up again, and this flips down. And this is the one that I showed you how to do that little corner. So that needs to get inked. And we'll glue that on. I think the cardinal paper is so pretty. And then this one goes right here. And I'm sure you can do this without measuring. You just have to make a bunch of marks, put your paper up next to it and mark where you're going to cut it. I just find it easier for me to do the measuring. And again, what I do is I measure the outside piece of it, and it's 5 inches, so I would cut it at 4 7/8. And all your trimmers have measurements, so that works. And then the other side is 4 1/2, so this piece of paper is 4 3/8. And then this just flips up, and the magnet's hidden in there now, and it just snaps right to it. So I'll switch this around like this, and we'll go ahead and do these. And I've got another one that we need to trim up for the other part of the file folder. But I wanted to make sure that I showed you how I do that. And when I'm making the cuts for these, sometimes the paper is so directional and I would maybe get it upside down. So that's why I don't use one for the pattern of the other, is because I would somehow have 2 lefts or 2 rights, or upside down, inside out, and backwards. So I just don't. It's easier for me if I make a fresh cut each time, because I've wasted so much paper by thinking I was going to be better than that, but not so much. Okay, this piece is going to go right here, and this is the one that we're going to cut our file folder. So we can glue this one on. I hope that you're crafting with me or making one of these also. They really are fun. And they make great gifts. Okay, so we're going to do some, this is cut here. It's 4 1/4, so it's 4 1/8 by the 6 inches, so it's 5 7/8. But now we have to trim this corner and this out. And this is just my corner rounder, so that one was easy. So I'm going to move this. Well, see, here we go, so I can see it, and so can you. We're going to go up all the way to this edge and to this edge, so that it stays in place. I'm going to clip it. And we're going to trace right next to the file folder onto that white paper. And now we can go ahead and trim on that line. I cut just to the inside of the line. And for long cuts, I like long blades, so I get straight edges. And I find that if you go with your scissors underneath, you can see better and you have better control. And you move the paper, not the scissors. Okay. Now we're going to do our dry fit. And here, slip that under it so you can see. And there it is. We just have to ink it. It really is that easy. And if it doesn't turn out perfect, that's okay. That's part of its charm. Because if it was done in a manufacturing facility or in a factory, then that's the ones that we would buy. But we want the ones that we make ourselves, handcrafted. There we go. We go ahead and glue that on. So we've got all our little flaps. I'm going to put the cover on the ink. so I don't end up ruining my cover by throwing it into the ink pad. Now we want a little pocket right here. So I'm going to grab the file folder pieces that we have left over. And this is what's left of our other file folder. And I'm going to go ahead and use this for the pocket. We're going to make tags out of this one. I have a little fold there, so I'm going to use this side. And, well, no, I'm going to go ahead. I want to have that little part of the file. We could make a straight little pocket, but how fun would that be just to have that? So let's do it. So I'm going to measure the red is 5 7/8. So because I want to see it, I'm going to make my pocket smaller. I'm going to go with 5 5/8 plus a 1/16. Not quite 5 3/4. And I'm just going to measure and cut it down. And my measurement again. I'm going to round that corner right away so I don't forget. And now, how deep do I want my pocket? This is too big, so I'm going to cut it down. And make a little pencil mark and put it in my cutter. And here we've got our little pocket. Funny shape, isn't it? But it's perfect. Okay, so now we need to decide what color paper, and we've got our scraps. What would we like it to be? I don't want it to be the red because it would get lost. It would blend in nicely if that's what you want, the look you wanted to go for. But in my case, I would have to match the plaid, and yeah. I'm not going to go there. And this is too big of a difference for me. It goes very nicely with this, but not so much with that. So I'm discarding that choice. And then I have my plaids fighting each other here. So no on that choice. So that leaves me with this, which is nice. It matches my border. This. But that gets to be too much of this. It looks nice though. But I like this better. And then I have, this one's too small, this one, but that one is the same, and that's okay to have, but I really like this one. So let's use this piece. This is my little label. I'm going to title my book 'tis the season. So that's why I have that ready to go. So there's this. Okay, let's cut our piece out. And this is easy because we haven't glued anything in yet. And we need to ink it. Give it that black, dirty edge. And pop our paper on. Oh, I need to do some measuring first to get it to be the right size so that my templates will work. And this is 2 7/8 high, so I want to cut it at 2 3/4 by 5 5/8 plus, so I need it to be just over 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut the 5 1/2 first, so I have the biggest piece of scrap to use next. Double check my measurement. So then I have a nice little scrap that can be used for a little tag or something. And now I'm going to measure this way and do this one. 2 3/4. Okay, and this corner is rounded, so I do that right away. So it's going to go like that. But I need to make my measurements, so I'm going all the way to the edge and all the way to the top. Clip it. And clip that. And now I can draw. And I have my mark. And a trick to getting a straight cut is don't look at the actual part that's being cut. Look at the tip. Where is it? Where are you aiming? Where is it going? And that's how you can get straight cuts. And then I'm going to use the little scissors to do that inside corner. And do our dry fit. It works. So now I got to ink it up. And grab our glue. and center it the best you can. Okay, and these two little scraps we're going to throw away. Get our little book, and we're going to glue this in. And I want some red border all the way around it. And I'm going to use the art glitter glue for this because of that really fine point, so I can get it close but not take away very much of the pocket size. And I haven't used this yet today, so got a little bit of a clog. There we go. It's about every once a month I like to take the tip off and soak it in hot water, and I haven't done that yet. How's that for a straight, crooked line? And it does dry clear. But I don't like excess glue seeping out, so. Okay, and a little tip that I have shown in the past, find a little piece of cardstock, is if you've got a little bit of glue sticking out, take some cardstock and it will wick right up onto the cardstock. Grab a little tag, and here we have our pocket. And you can make more pockets, or you can do nothing, or you can put the photo mats on. You know, it doesn't matter. But I want to do a journal in this. I've been dying to do that part. I wanted to just skip to it, but these were always in my way, so it's like, nope, we got to do one thing at a time. And what I want to do is I'm going to use 8.5 by 11 scrapbook, or yeah, I got scrapbook on the mind, don't I? 8.5 by 11 letter size paper, so this is 9, so I'm going to make my little template. Because I want my holes, I'm going to use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch probably. I always go for 5-hole, but we can do a 3. It makes it easy. I like 5 because it's more stable. And then, but you know, here's another thought. We can put eyelets in here and make it and put elastic and have it be replaceable. So you can do that here too, because it's a 1/2 inch spine, so that's definitely wide enough for an eyelet. So there's an idea. I'm going to go ahead and sew it in, but if you want to do eyelets, this is what I would do. I would find your center. I would measure down 1/4 inch here and make a 3/16 hole. Well, you could do the 1/8 hole too, because you're only going to use one elastic. Yes, do a 1/8 inch hole at the 1/4 inch down, and then at the 1/2 inch, do one more. And the same thing from down here on this side, go a 1/4 inch up and a 1/2 inch up. I bet it would be easier to show you rather than just tell you. Let's go ahead and do we'll go for the holes. Let's just do it. So I want a 1/4 and I want it in the middle. I want a 1/2 and I want it in the middle. Same thing here on the bottom. 1/4 and a 1/2. Now I got to put it like this. Did I get anywhere near the center? Yes, not bad. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make a bigger dot. And then how did I do down here? Not quite as well. That's okay. We're going to make a bigger dot where I want it to be. I tend to be a little perfectionist kind of in that. I like things centered. Sorry, I just do. So we're going to do an 1/8. So what we're going to do first is punch. So I made that dot so that I could see it through the hole of my crocodile. And trying to put it up so that you can see it, but then the light, I shadowed my light so I can't see it. Got it, I think. This is better. Oh yes. And then punch. And punch. Just one left. Got it. Okay. So this is going to be the telltale of how bad it is. It's not too bad. It's okay. It's good. Now I'm going to grab the eyelets. And those are too big. Go for the little ones. Do I have black? I got copper, tweezer. Yeah. And I need 4 of them. Definitely crafting by the seat of my pants, huh? But hey, that's all good. It works out best that way. So I just go ahead and put my eyelet in the hole, and then I'm going to put this part into the eyelet and then squeeze. And the setting for the crocodile for the 1/8 inch is A on the top and 1 on the bottom. There's a little tiny engraving into the plastic. So now we have our eyelet set. Don't need the crocodile anymore. And now I've got to grab the elastic. And hopefully I don't knock stuff down onto the camera. Definitely didn't plan that. Here, we got it. Hopefully I didn't bump you. And this is $3 millimeter, no, 2 millimeter elastic cording. And what I'm going to do from the inside of the journal, I go down the top and then up through this one. So you don't have elastic all the way on the outside of your cover. It's just this little bit here and this little bit down here. I'm not sure if I have showed you that in a previous tutorial or not. I know I've done a few elastic covers or bindings, but I don't remember if I've ever shown you how I do it. And now what we want to do is pull it. I want it tight. But not too tight. And I'm going to loosen it up just a little bit so that I can tie it. And we can make it tighter if we need to. Oh, paper clips are magnetized to the scissors. My paper clip holder dispenser has a magnetized top. And so I bet they have a little bit of a charge. Okay, and then I'm just gonna wrap it around my fingers and tie a knot. It's pretty loose. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. Okay, so I'm going to pull this so I've got room to work. That's better. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this in case we need to change something afterwards. Okay, and I've got a little title to put here. right there. So, and I've already inked it around a little bit. It says "'Tis the season." I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Get the glue goobers off of it. And kind of roughly eyeballing the center. Yes, I like that. It's a fun little touch. And then see here on our spine, it's just that little bit of hardware and a little bit of elastic. I like that. So now we need to make our journal. Well, you know, we got tags to make and stuff too. Let's do our fun tags. Let's get some of the stuff back out of the way. I stuck everything on my paper cutter, of course, that I took down from the shelf. So we're going to use our file folder to make some tags. And this is, I'm going to make 2 tags to slip in here, and they're going to be 4 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and trim up the cardstock and find something to point with. Do you see where these natural fold lines are in the file folder? I'm going to cut those off. I don't want them in my tag. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and then I'm going to measure up 4 inches and cut. Double checking. Yep, okay. Now we want to do 4 inches. So this is our leftovers. And here, this is going to be my tag. And see, I don't know how long to make it yet. And the edges are going to be rounded. I'm staying with that rounded theme. Okay, it's seated all the way to the glue. I'm going to make a little pencil mark so that way I know how big the file is, and I want it to probably cut it 5/8 inch longer. Yeah, that'll give me a little bit of room for some knot and stuff. So I'm going to cut it there, and mine ends up being 5 1/4 inches. So I'm going to cut 5 1/4. This will be an end and this will be an end. And now I'm going to put those together. clip them. I'm going to grab an old tag that I use for my pattern, hold that on, and cut. Why reinvent the wheel, right? So now I'm going to move the clips to this side. So now I have my tag. And I need to find the center. And this was a 4-inch tag, so that would be 2 inches. You could eyeball it. I'm just going to make a little mark. And grab the crocodile. I'm going to put a 3/16 hole in it. For this size of a chunky tag, I like a little bit bigger hole. So let's go ahead and put eyelets in for that. Put the baby ones away. Oh, I think these are the ones. Yeah, I don't want to use these. That won't work. Okay, let's grab the little box and let's find some to use. A black one and another black one. That will work. Don't need the clips anymore. And now we need to change our settings to be for the 3/16. My poor thing is so used. I think, no, that's a 1. This one. This is the right one. Okay. So the setting for the 3/16 is A. Oh, okay, the 1/8 is C. The 3/16 is A. Okay, I had those mixed up. C3 is your 1/8 and A1 is your 3/16. Boy, I made that complicated, didn't I? There we have our eyelet. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick. I've got my wax paper handy. Okay, sometimes when your tags get stuck going in and out, if you take some wax paper and you rub along the edges and the bottom, the sides and the bottom, they slide right in. And then all we need is a little bit of ribbon or cording to tie on there. Perfect. And for our pocket here, we can make some more tags. We've got this scrap and this that are sizable. And I think this would make a nice, yes, we can do a 3x6 with this one easy. And to be consistent, we can, well, let's go with the 1/4 inch. Give it just a little bit of a round. And then you can cut a hole in that if you'd like. And we need some more tags. Let's use some of our scraps to make tags. I don't want to use the nice big ones because maybe we'll come up with another idea for those. I don't want to use the red one because that would get lost. Let's go ahead and just make 2 tags out of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it 6 inches. And by 3. And we'll make it a little different top on them, because that's always fun. So now we've got some fun things in here. Now we just need to do our journal and get these, and I think we'll do that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening.